Hello, I'm Justin Porter, and the subject of my talk tonight is Jehovah, the not so intelligent designer. Now, in what way is Jehovah not an intelligent designer? Let's start with the Adam and Eve story. In the beginning, God creates the heaven and the earth. He makes the earth, and then he says, I want a garden. I want a garden. So, zap, a garden. Don't like gardening. I don't like gardening. I'll make a gardener. He makes Adam. Adam appears, gardener. Gardens the earth, because Jehovah doesn't like gardening. Man gets lonely, just has animals to talk to. Jehovah, he falls asleep, takes one of the man's ribs, makes Eve. Adam sees Eve. What? Who's this? And looks at her. Adam looks at her up and down. And he says, where did you get those two bumps? Oh, where's ya? Oh, shocked. Fall in love. Adam and Eve become good friends. Or we were created. Were we created like from the dust? Was Eve made from a rib? Right? Now, if Jehovah was such a magnificent creator, why didn't he give us, say, better eyes? Eagles can fly and they can see a mouse on the ground. Why didn't Jehovah give us telescopic vision or microscopic vision? See small things. Our eyes can't see long distances like an eagle. Can't see a mouse on the ground like the eagle's eyes like a magnifying glass. Why didn't he give us a magnifying glass? Another example. If you were a builder, would you build a maternity ward next to public toilets? Would you build a maternity ward where babies are born next to public toilets? Well, that's what Jehovah did with the woman's anatomy. You've got the birth canal, and right next door to the birth canal, you've got the sewage system. Is that what Jehovah thinks of us? Another example. Israelites were all to get their baby boys circumcised. Why didn't Jehovah just make babies without foreskins? Another example. In the Old Testament, if a woman had her period, she'd be unclean for 14 days, was it, or 7 days? And if she sat on a chair, it'd be unclean, and couldn't go in the temple, she'd be unclean in her impurity. A better idea, don't give women periods. Menstruation. If Jehovah doesn't like menstruating women, they're unclean, well, stop them from menstruating, no more periods. And I'm sure all the women would be happy if there was no more periods. With men, nocturnal emissions of semen, the man would be unclean, right? If you think semen's unclean, well, don't give men semen. Do it another way, you know. Another one is teeth. Our teeth. We get one set of baby teeth and we get one set of adult teeth. Why not give us like rodent teeth that keep on growing, or just as we eat food, the enamel, just replace the enamel on our teeth, because most teeth cavities are caused by the enamel wearing away. So just give us enamel replacement. So as we lose enamel from sugary things, we gain enamel in our blood, and it'll take the enamel to the teeth and, calcium, because it's just teeth are bone. Another one is limbs. If I lose a finger, why doesn't the finger grow back? Lose my arm. Wouldn't it be great, a better design, if the arm grew back? Jehovah didn't like clean-shaven men. He wanted the Israelite men to grow their beard. I think Leviticus 17:11, I'm not 100% sure unless I'm a bit rusty, but the Israelite men weren't allowed to trim their beards on the sides. They weren't allowed to trim the beards. Well, wouldn't it be a better idea if us men that like being clean-shaven, we blink our eye and think, well, I don't want to grow a beard, no beard. Or if I want to grow a beard, grow a beard. It's up to you. Why didn't he make babies born with beards if he likes beards so much? Jehovah likes beards. He doesn't like clean-shaven. Another example is we've gone the teeth, we've gone the eyes. What about the DNA of a baby in its mother's womb? No more cystic fibrosis, no more asthma, which killed my mother. My mother was only 30 when she died of an asthma attack. No more babies born with asthma. What about sin? Here's a good one. A lot of homosexual men and homosexual women are born that way, and since they're young teenagers, they like the same sex. Why doesn't Jehovah just nip the desire in the brain so they don't have that yearning to do that, Why just make babies sinless when they're born? Sinless. Because didn't Jesus die to take the sin away from the world? So just make babies sinless. And take away the homosexual desire that people have for the same sex that they're born with. And another one is children, pedophiles, right? Why don't you just nip that desire of the pedophile, though he does not desire to do that evil crime? Nip that desire in the bud so no children are harmed, because you get a lot of people who are sexually attracted to children, and they may never act on that, but they're sexually attracted to children. Just nip that in the bud, so no children get harmed. Because the sad case with religions seem to foster a lot of pedophilia. Nip that desire in the bud so no child is hurt. Another thing is skin. I have white skin. I get sunburn. I get sunburn really easy. If I had black skin, I wouldn't get so badly sunburn, or brown, but I got fair skin, so I get sunburn. I was born in Australia. Why was I born in Australia when I've got fair skin? Why didn't you make me born in a colder climate? And stop sunburn, because sunburn's a horrible thing. Make skin that doesn't get sunburn. How cool would that be? You could still have the different colours of skin, but no more sunburn. Because I get sunburn really easy. Another thing that would be a better design is our the appendix. The appendix at the end of the large intestine. You've got this little thing called the appendix, and it gets inflamed, and it causes infections, and some people die from it. Another thing is, why can't we have just skin that doesn't age as quickly? And so I don't think Jehovah is an intelligent designer, and I think he could have done a better job at making humans. And another thing I find is baldness. Why not fix up baldness? grey hair, why not fix up grey hair? Jehovah's Witnesses and a lot of religious people say, well, God's going to give us perfect divine bodies in heaven or on earth, which will be sinless. Why not make babies sinless now? Because Jesus died, apparently, to take away the sin of the world. How come innocent babies are born with sin? They didn't ask to be sinful, you know. So there's an interesting scenario. And also, so many crimes that are committed against people would be stopped if that sinful, selfish inclination was gone in human beings. And I don't believe in Adam and Eve. I believe Adam and Eve was fiction. It was mythology. Some Bible scholars think Adam and Eve may have been based on the Garden of Eden with the Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti, who walked around naked in their Garden of Eden. So it's just a story. Scientists have proved that humans are primates, and we evolved from human primates. And we are primates. And interesting, when you look at a baby in its mother's tummy, it starts out as 1 cell, 2 cells, 4 cells, 8 cells, 16. And in a 9-month period, the baby starts to look like a tadpole, a fish, a frog, a little marsupial thing like a possum or something, and then a human in that 9-month period in its mother's tummy. It didn't go zap and a human being out of the mud like a ancient mud golem. No. And also, as billions of years have gone by, the human animal, which we are, has gradually changed over time. And we have evolved. We are highly evolved apes that know we're going to die. We invent religions. And I'm sure one day when chimpanzees work out how to cook their food with fire, they'll sit around a campfire cooking their colobus monkey that they're eating, and I'll get a bit of pen and paper, and a chimpanzee will write, in the beginning, God created chimpanzees. And the cult merry-go-round will start all over again, you know. So this is interesting things to think of. Now, if you're listening to this video, if you're a Christian or a Jehovah's Witness, you may think I'm being very blasphemous, even sinning against the Holy Spirit. But I really don't believe in Jehovah. I believe that Jehovah is a fictitious Jewish god, no different than the Egyptian gods, the Viking gods, the African gods, the Chinese gods, the Japanese gods. Jehovah was just a Jewish god. And I have Viking ancestry in me. My ancestors' Viking gods were Thor, you know, Odin. Okay? And people don't believe in those gods anymore. And I have no need to believe in Jehovah, because I believe he's just fictitious. So if you think I have been blasphemous, if I spoke like this 100 years ago, they'd probably lock me up for blasphemy. Yes, probably 100 years ago. Maybe in the 1800s I would have been locked up, you know, for blasphemy, speaking out against God like this, but I just don't believe in him. And if I was living in the 1500s or the 1600s, they would burn me at the stake for blasphemy. They would burn me at the stake for blasphemy. And it's very interesting. And the other thing I wanted to say is that these gods that people worshipped were just figments of their imagination. A lot of the gods are no longer believed in. I just don't believe in the Jewish God, Yahweh, which is the correct name, not Jehovah, you know. And the other thing I wanted to say is that these constructs that we make up throughout the centuries about God are forever changing, never staying, they're evolving. So Jehovah has evolved throughout the centuries. He has evolved, changed. Just like a car from 1923 looks a little bit different than the cars that we have in 2023. Still a motor car. So these gods have evolved, changed over time, with different cultures, different gods, and different views of God. Everyone has a different view about God. No two Christians, different dominations, they fight. And why is it that why do people hate people who have different beliefs about God? There's so much hatred. If there's an earthquake in Turkey and a Muslim woman survives an earthquake, the house falls on top of her, she survives the earthquake, she says, Allah Akbar, Allah saved my life, Allah protected me. And then a house down the road, a Christian family lived, they get killed. Does the Muslim women think, my God, Allah is true because I survived and the Christian family died? See, these attitudes that people had, all the ancient people believed in different gods. When the Israelites lost a war, they said Jehovah's angry with us because we're sinning. When the Israelites won a war, they said, aha, Jehovah's happy with us. And the other nations around them, the Hittites, the Amalekites, the Moabites, the Canaanites. The Canaanites had Baal. I think the Philistines had Dagon. They all had different gods. So when they won their war against the Israelites, they say, our God is better than your God. And that's all it is. That's all I want to say tonight. And I would be burned at the stake if I was living in the 1500s speaking like this. So religion has caused so much stress. I don't think religion has really been a good force in the world. I believe it divides people. I believe that religion has led to a lot of abuse, sexual abuse of children, and over the centuries, abuse of women, downgrading women as second-class citizens, and basically a divisive force in life. And I think it would be better if everyone was an agnostic. So if I was a God of love, and this is another thing I wanted to say, a lot of Christians tell me that fine-tuning, the earth is so finely tuned for life. If the temperature was a bit out or the atoms were a little bit out, everything's so fine-tuned for life on earth. If God is all-powerful and almighty, he doesn't have to have fine-tuning in the physical world to have life on earth. He's God. He can do whatever he wants. So if he wants to make life on earth under any conditions, he can. He can make living creatures that breathe in mercury gas. He can make living creatures that drink acid and survive. God doesn't need fine-tuning because he's God, he's all-powerful. He can make life on earth under any circumstance. Ammonia gas. He could have made us to breathe in ammonia gas, cyanide gas, and make life out of that. So when Christians say fine-tuning, everything's so finely tuned for life, well, if God is all-powerful and almighty, he can put life on earth for any circumstances, any different tuning, he can make life. Doesn't have to have fine-tuning. That fine-tuning argument reinforces my belief in evolution because things have to be fine-tuned for life. Fair enough, but if there really was a God, he can make life in any environment. And why isn't there life on all the other planets? I think we have 8 or 9 planets in our solar system. Why doesn't he put life on those planets? Why is it just Earth that has planets? If he's a god of love, he'd just make one planet and just all these dead planets. Planet Earth won the lottery of life. You've won the lottery of life because you're here. Life is precious, life is special. It may be the only one we get. So treasure it. And thank you for listening to my video. I'm Justin Porter. Today's date is the 3rd of October 2023. Like, subscribe, comment. Thank you very much.